Hello, friends. It's a Friday night. Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. As you all know, my name is George Martinez, and this is our Tell George Friday night conversations. Please share it with folks. Good evening once again for everybody that's just joining in. These are the Tell George Friday night conversations, and for the rest of the campaign, I wanted to give a space that folks could know they could check in, refer their friends, have their questions answered. My number is available on the website as well. You see the website behind me, george2021.com. So feel free to always reach out, share your thoughts and comments. But I wanted to make sure we had a space for listening and hearing, and hey, send your thoughts, your questions, your words. Give people the opportunity just to remain connected. I remember when the pandemic first started, we opened up this space by staying connected with reliable information, and shout out to Jen Motika, my campaign coordinator, and everyone else who's been supportive. And so before I go even any further, as you all know, anytime I'm on any call, we want to always open with a land acknowledgement. And so today I am in Anchorage on Dena'ina Athabascan land, whose stewardship once was and remains today. And so wherever you may be checking us out from and tuning in, if you're in Anchorage, then you're on Dene land. If you are in other parts of the state or other parts of the country, even the world, you are on indigenous land somewhere. And so we ask you that, and I asked you to pause and just give a moment of reflection to the indigenous stewards of the land that you're on. All right, everybody. Well, send some thoughts. What's on your mind? In a few minutes, I'm going to play the long version of the ad. We released a brand new video on New Year's Eve called "We Are Ready," and first, as you can tell, this is going to be hopefully a conversational space. So I'm drinking my hot water out of my King Tech high school mug, and phone is ringing, so let me stop that there too. I gave up coffee, just so folks who don't know. I gave up coffee 9 years ago, and it was part of a series of physical just changes that I made to my diet and really trying to stay healthy. My father passed away at a relatively young age, and so just really thoughtful about my health. And so I drink hot water all the time. So if you ever see me with a cup or any glass in my hand during the mornings, and I don't drink coffee anymore, so it's just hot water all day long, and that keeps me hydrated, and it also keeps my digestive system operational. So if you got any questions, feel free to send those questions on in as we kind of just wait for some other folks to join. I hope to have a guest or two tonight, but this is a pop-up conversation, and it's a dedicated space. So questions will always be able to be answered here, and I will take them from here and answer them offline if we don't have any time for that. These conversations will be 30 minutes long, maybe an hour, depending on how it's going, depending on the response. But really, it's just an opportunity to remain connected, touching base, and sharing reliable information. There's a lot going on in our city. There's a lot going on in our world, and staying connected with good information and sometimes even trying to have a good time is important. And so here we are, first Friday, Anchorage. If you're outside and stay warm, please bundle up. It's cold. I'll have the fireplace going on in my house tonight. I'm working through that cord of wood fast. It's been really cold the last week, so I just encourage everybody to stay warm. And again, it's the first Friday, and good evening, Brother David. And as a creative in me, first Fridays are just an important kind of opportunity to get connected to each other. The history of that movement really was around art and connection. And for downtown, for us, we have a lot of artists and galleries. And shout out to Katie Savigny and and the other artists and galleries holders downtown, and the independent artists that work and have operated downtown. Kill Bill Sachs is one of those people. He's I think the one of the most famous musicians of our city today, and contemporary musicians. He does all sorts of performances and the big shows with people like Andrea Antoine, who host these big concerts, at least normally, and we'll get back to that. We will get back to those fun cultural activities that draw people together. And, we'll get through this time of social distancing. We'll get there again. I'm confident in that. And we'll be able to come back to those performances. But a guy like Kill Bill Sachs, who's lived in other cities, people may remember him. He used to play downtown, even out in the street. And so this is what First Friday, this is what creativity means in communities. And Anchorage is full of creative people. So if you have anything to share on the creative, or you feel free to check in. Any questions or thoughts as we're sitting here. And I encourage everybody to also take a look at the text message on the bottom of the scroller. This is going to give you the opportunity to sign up for our email blast, sign up for the inside knowledge, but also to be an easy way to share with your friends and with other folks who we all need to come on into this conversation. Our campaign is built around bringing people together to roll our sleeves up and work for the best interest of the city. Tonight, I'm going to talk about a few of the endorsements I got to, and in the last couple of weeks that really helped to demonstrate and create the space for our campaign and for my candidacy as the independent choice in this election. So there's a lot of great things happening. Want to just see if anybody has any questions. Feel free to shoot them on in. But let's go to the long version. I don't mind playing it a few times, and so I could play the video again later on. But again, on New Year's Eve, we released a video called "We Are Ready," and it was a 1-minute ad that was created by a local filmmaker, Brian Pentecost, and who is a phenomenal emerging young filmmaker. And I'm so excited that I know him for many years but he's part of the B-Boy community and the grassroots organizing community of the cultural arts here in the city. And he's just now a phenomenal filmmaker as well, added to his resume. This is the sort of talent that we have in our community, and I'm able to work with and just really be thrilled about the products that we're able to put together. So we have more commercials coming. We're getting ready for some broadcast as well. And let's go to this wonderful commercial. This is the long version. So we didn't release this first. This is a little more than about 2-minute version of the commercial. It's a little richer in terms of the impact of the first one, which got tremendous responses. And so with no further ado, let's go to the long version. I hope you enjoy it. World today. We live in a different world today. A different world than we had yesterday. Things may not be what we're used to. Or how we want them to be.
Time for school?
We don't know what the future will hold.
Hi, welcome to class.
But one thing I do know is we will rebuild. Together. If this past year teaches us anything, we can always do better.
we can always do more.
Good job.
We are ready. Anchorage forward.
Anchorage forward, everybody. That's the main theme of our campaign. I hope you enjoyed that. This was the first time I shared a video while doing a broadcast. So if you would, let me know if you heard it. Let me know a little feedback about the sound and if that worked. This was a new feature to this broadcast platform, so I'd love to know. And as we continue to kind of keep this space open and develop our capacity to just remain connected. So, okay, anybody? Well, let me see if there's got any comments on the. Yeah, it looks like the video was heard. Really good. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. I just got a text message as well that somebody that heard it. So, yeah, great. Well, here we are Friday night, everybody. This is a regular conversation. It's an open space. Oh, cool. Great. Thank you, Justina. It's an open space for discussion, for your questions, your Q&A, for you to refer other people to the campaign so that if they have any questions. You know, there's a lot of misinformation, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that too tonight. Just earlier this week, I was on a panel. I think it was yesterday night, a discussion with around this platform called, I think, Brave Conversations, but it was with Lee Sloan and James Prim, who are hosts of this conversation series. Right? Really thoughtful people, not politically aligned particularly, but able to do as one of the things that I talk about in my campaign, which is be able to disagree with dignity, find the values of what's important, and be able to move forward, right? So they do this on this program all the time. And they had me having on this as a guest yesterday, talking with another guest around the role of media. And what I can say is, you know, we are both creators as we're making content now, and this is a live broadcast, but it'll also be a video. And, you know, the technology is available for so many people now to have access. But also, you know, the responsibility about how we utilize that is important, right? So this platform, for example, when I found this platform, it was as a response to the pandemic last March. I don't know if folks remember, my birthday is coming up March 11th. And so last year we were about to have a birthday kickoff to start the early part of the campaign. And everything went sideways from there, as we all know. And instead of just collapsing and pausing, I knew these technologies existed and utilized this platform for a long time. Not this particular one, but I've been an online educator a university professor for over 20 years in my career path. So one of the jobs that I've had. And I've been just very comfortable with remote working and teaching online. But I knew that there was an important way to stay connected with people that was maybe with some new technology that I wasn't aware of. So I asked my 12-year-old son. He was 11 at the time. And my son was really into Fortnite. So if you're a Fortnite parent and you got a child with the Fortnite, shout out. If you're an adult and you have a little Fortnite habit on the side, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. I know before this year, I may be able to claim that I have more Fortnite wins as any candidate. So I'll put that on deck. That gives me props with my son. And but I got a few early wins in a couple of early seasons. But my son was interested in content creation, and he was thinking about how to, like other kids, they watch these videos online, they learn about all these videos, how to use the computers to create videos. And so I started asking, well, what platform do people use? And then I started exploring his world, and I found this technology and this platform. And so that's one of the ways that I think, leadership is really about being open-minded, but it's also how to use innovative tools, how to really be available for them, to be able to bring them in and be useful at the times when we need them. So I found this tool. We created that online birthday party kickoff, which was phenomenal. And we've been hosting online events and conversations ever since. So share with me your thoughts on both what tools are you using, what online stuff is how that's worked for you as well. I definitely could tell you I've had Zoom neck at least on 2 or 3 occasions this year. And if you don't know what Zoom neck is, it means you've been online in a Zoom position, whether it's that leaning or you're some direction of it, and for way too long in a day. And I've definitely had some incidents of that. And so, we may be home and not, and some people may be able to work remotely. You got to take care of your body, and wellness is important. So, hey, Andrea, good to see you. And I appreciate that. When it's the role of mayor to me, as you know, Andrea, is to get things done. Right. And specifically to get things done for the people you represent, which is the people of the great city of Anchorage. So I'm running for mayor because I believe that during this time of transition, even before the pandemic, the questions that our city was facing, the challenges that are on our shores, the opportunities that are before us, that my background and depth of experiences, lived, professional, both across the world and here in Anchorage, have given that I have the best opportunity to bring people together and really find a way forward, putting us in a position to be able to be responsive to the needs and the emerging challenges and opportunities, as opposed to reactionary. And I think that's really important to recognize. So let me see, I got a person who's calling. I'm going to see if they could get on the line and do a poem with us. So I'm just going to put them on the spot. Hey, Kima, check this out. I'm live on StreamYard. I would love to just text you the link and have you come do a poem with me if you would. So stand by. Oh, you could do, matter of fact, you could do it live right here. How about I got you on speakerphone? Because, he hung up, so he must be expecting that. That means he has to get done right. It's my associate, Kima Hamilton. He's traveled with me internationally as well. But last week he held and hosted a lyrical town hall for me, which brought together some phenomenal poets, including Karina Delgado, including just some of the area local poets. I'll let their names be connected with that event. It was a private closed door event, but Karina Delgado was on our flyer, and she was phenomenal in our event. For those who don't know, she used to be one of the poets here, is now over in DC as a big radio star and personality. I just saw a photo of her today at the Super Bowl for Super Bowl weekend, standing next to Shaquille O'Neal. So from our fundraiser with a lyrical town hall to the Super Bowl with Shaquille O'Neal, yeah, I'd say, our event we've had some good guests and some very strong supporters. Speaking of which, I'm going to announce and share with everybody, you probably know already, but we're going to share some of our endorsements, 2 endorsements particularly that we received this week that are really big. And so that also make the case again that we have the independent campaign, and I am the independent choice for mayor of Anchorage. Let me put on this graphic so that I can share this information as well while I queue up and see if I can get our guest poet on the line. And anyone else that wants to comment and offers any thoughts, please feel free. And I also invite everybody to get this information out. Let's get people signed up. We're going to talk, signing up is critical. It's going to help us turn out the vote. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as I cover also an event that's happening this weekend in reflection of Black History Month. So let me see if I can get our friend on the line. And come on back to the screen. And like I mentioned, we'll wait on my friend there. But this is Black History Month, everybody. Like, it's important to talk about that, and it's important to recognize that. It's important to recognize the diasporic nature of what it means to celebrate Black history, of what it means to be a part of the community in the first place, right? So, Black History Month. And I just want to give this reflection because there's an event happening on Sunday, and it's essentially the citywide celebration for Black History Month. And I will take all political hats off. I will not be a candidate. I will be a representative of myself and my professional organization. But I have the opportunity to reflect on legacy, and specifically the living legacy of John Lewis. On Sunday, I'll have the chance to do that as a part of a Black History Month celebration. But I step back from this idea of celebration, and especially with respect to this month and the legacy of things. I use the word living legacy because to celebrate effectively is to operationalize and to use and to have intentionality of purpose. That's to celebrate effectively and with the honor that the work that comes before us deserves. Right? I think celebration, everyone who will do it and how they do it, but just to celebrate with the symbology, right? The symbols of joy associated with the memory of those who came and the work that they did, but without the work ourselves is. It reminds me of the nature of faith without works, right? And the works are critical. So we celebrate those who came before us, the living legacies. But to make it a living legacy, we got to continue and operationalize that work. And so, turning out the vote, getting involved in the electoral process, running for office, standing for what we believe in as a community, mobilizing our interests. These are all critical things. And shout out to Cal Williams. Speaking of a history maker, shout out to Eleanor Andrews. Speaking of shout out to Celeste Hodge, history maker. Shout out to Mr. Ed Wesley, history maker. Shout out to Jewel Jones, history maker. There are history makers right here in our community. And they are alive. And so it's the living legacy that we talk about because they still do the work. Everybody I mentioned is still very active in the community. And I didn't mention everybody. But Cal Williams, every day for the month of February, is waking up Anchorage with a black cup of coffee, or a cup of black coffee, as he would say it. And shout out to Cal Williams because he is the griot of our city. I said it. Cal Williams is the griot of our city. And, there's cities that have the titles where they give the distinction to individuals as the poet laureates. Another example is I had one of the Wisconsin poet laureate on our call as well, who did a poem. Her name is Dasha Kelly Hamilton. And so we have poets around and the poet. Cal is our griot. He is our griot of the city. He and especially of Black history here in Anchorage. He's done the work. He's worked with the people doing the work. And thank you for Cal for your support and in your leadership in our community. Buenas noches, Nineta. Good to see you. Gracias por su presencia y por su apoyo. Nuestro próximo mayor alcalde, gracias por sus palabras. Thank you, Nineta, for your support, your words of encouragement. You know, the diasporic nature of what we celebrate in Black History Month brings us all together. And that's really important to recognize. As a person of Puerto Rican heritage myself, I know that there's basically a tripartite framework of what makes a Puerto Rican. Now, every family is going to be a little different, and a different mix here and a different mix there. But Puerto Ricans are part of the African diaspora. We have those African heritage roots. We have the indigenous roots, and we also have the Spanish roots, right? So there are these diverse histories that swell within me, and I get to carry as my part of my experiential learning. But think about the diversity of Anchorage. Think about the nature of having over 100 languages spoken in our school district. And we don't have the United Nations across a bridge, right? Where you think of a Queens, New York, with the level of cultural diversity that is so dense. Well, Anchorage has those neighborhoods. We have the top 3 most culturally diverse high schools in the nation. Our middle schools place on the top list, and so do some of our elementary schools. We are a diverse city. That's part of what I recognize is our strength. It's the strength of the campaign that I'm bringing as well. We certainly have the most diverse core of a campaign that any mayoral candidate has this cycle, and I put it up against the past cycles because I know that I stand on the shoulders of those who come before me, and we've been doing this work. So I'm honored to be a part of Living Legacy, but I encourage everybody, be a part of this. How can you do it? Well, what we're doing today, make a donation to the campaign. We always need those resources. Help us spread the word by getting people involved in the text operation. Text George to 33339, and you'll have the opportunity to sign our mailing list. But then you could share that with other people. That'll help us get out the word, which is going to turn us to getting out the vote. We need everybody to participate. This is the Living Legacy, but it's the why. That's the work, some of the work. It's the why that matters most. It's the why John Lewis worked to build and to make that good noise, that good trouble. It's why Dr. King talked about the beloved community. It's why we have that chance in our city to be the beloved city. You know, in over 20 years ago, an organization started here with a mayor then and Salt of the Earth community people at the time, many of which are still around. And they started an organization called Bridge Builders. Bridge Builders is definitely still here. And boy, do we miss each other because we host, and I've been really blessed to have the opportunity to host events for Bridge Builders. I'm going on 5 years about now as a community partner and an ally in that work. But we bring people together. And that mission from the Bridge Builders, imagine this, the beloved city, and that mission from the Bridge Builders that called a vision for Anchorage to be the first city without prejudice. I'm going to repeat that. The first city without prejudice. A group of Alaskans from different walks of life, working with the mayor, working with ministers, one of our endorsers that we already know, who's come out publicly for me, Reverend Dr. Alonzo Patterson, at the core of this bridge builder phenomenon, this movement that started then. We have founder Elsa Sargento, who was, I'm told, was part of the fuel that drove bridge builders into a formal space, into a space that was recognized by local government as the aspiration of Anchorage. And if you never heard that Anchorage has an aspiration from an organization of community holders of this legacy, that I'm able to be a part of, a standard bearer moving it forward. I invite you all to this conversation with us. The beloved city is Anchorage. We can make it this place. We can make it the beloved city. There's a lot of work to do, obviously. Let's not fool ourselves. But for a group of Alaskans to get together and say, we want to make Anchorage the first city without, the first city without prejudice. Think about living legacy. Think about the work we inherit and what we can do together. What this campaign represents, in fact, the diversity of ideas, of backgrounds, of identities coming together. The two endorsements that I'll mention tonight represent the diversity of endorsements that really position me to be able to say really loud and clear, there are people over here and there are people over here. And then there's me with the ability to bring us all together, working for what's best for the city by rolling our sleeves up. And so I'm waiting on the poet, but let me drop one of these endorsements now. I feel like I've definitely teased that out just a little too long, in fact. And we're closing in on our first half hour. So I'll be, from this point on, depending on the responsiveness and if I can get the poet on, we'll be winding down soon. But let me pull up the first of these endorsements that I'm really proud of and talk a little bit about it. First of these endorsements over the last week were Planned Parenthood. And I'm going to read what it says. Their endorsement wrote, "We value your leadership on reproductive health rights and equity in our communities. We know you will continue to be a dedicated advocate. Health rights, reproductive health rights, and equity in our community." That's the basis of that endorsement. I'm deeply appreciative and honored to receive that endorsement. I understand the value of and the importance of protecting reproductive health rights. I also understand that that's not all that Planned Parenthood does. They also make healthcare accessible to marginalized community members, to people who don't feel that they have access to mainstream channels. Planned Parenthood is an important community-based organization. They are often terrorized, even here in Anchorage. There are people that vandalize their property. I think it was just last year they had an incident with rocks and broken glass. But I'm proud to have that endorsement, recognizing that I grew up as a child of a single mother, and I had an older sister who required and needed support along her way. And I know that it was organizations like Planned Parenthood that helped her get support and information when our family wasn't prepared for it and couldn't do it. We're fortunately all healthy and well now, and we're in a different place, but I know that those are the ones who come behind us, and there are others in the community, and we might need those supports once again one day. So thank you, Planned Parenthood, for your endorsement. Let me flash that on the screen one more time. Thank you, Planned Parenthood, for your strong endorsement of my campaign. Organizations often endorse multiple candidates, and that's prerogative as well. And that's a good opportunity for people to reflect what's important to them. And sometimes there's a diversity of things that resonate with people and organizations. The other endorsement that I'll roll out, I'll do it right now, back to back, while we're here. And I'm really proud of this. And this is partly why I mentioned Bridge Builders. And I said it went Bridge Builders and the mission of Bridge Builders to make Anchorage the first city without prejudice, AKA the beloved city that we're working toward in the legacy of MLK, the legacy of John Lewis and others. That was an idea that was started during a mayor's time with a group of community voices and advocates, some of which, and most of which, in fact, are part of my campaign. Shout out to Malcolm and Cindy Roberts. Malcolm and Cindy Roberts, thank you for the work that you did to help build a foundation for the community of friends. You recognize that friendship was the starting point of building the community that would eliminate prejudice. Thank you for that. But that mayor at the time was a Republican mayor. That mayor at that time, at the starting of Bridge Builders, was Mayor Rick Mystrom, another person who has endorsed me, and I'm extremely honored and proud to have Rick Mystrom, former mayor of Anchorage's endorsement. Let me read what I have here. It's really small. You'll see this on our Facebook page. It's on our Instagram. It's on our social. Share it with folks. Let folks know the diversity of support that we're getting in 1 week to have Planned Parenthood and a former Republican mayor of Anchorage endorse me in the same week speaks to what we're able to do, bring people together. Former Mayor Mystrom writes, I have met with George many times and have discussed Anchorage's issues, past and present. From these meetings, I am convinced that George will be guided by one principle: what's best for Anchorage. He has worked in Democratic and Republican administrations, both nationally and locally. In a community as divided as Anchorage is, he brings both the desire and ability to build mutual respect and mobilize that respect into a stronger, more livable city. To mobilize that mutual respect into a stronger, more livable city. I am incredibly blown away by that endorsement. It represents, again, the diversity of support that this campaign has and that my candidacy has with your support. We've been able to bring people together. But that endorsement also speaks to the condition that former mayor sees in our city today, identifying Anchorage as divided as ever, recognizing that that's not going to help us reset, rebuild, and rebound and move forward in a strong way. The former mayor of Anchorage, Mayor Mystrom, recognizes that our way forward is by bringing people together. He knew that then, setting us on a course that there's a living legacy in our city of making Anchorage the first city without prejudice. That's the bridge builder legacy that comes from the mayor. The mayor knows that I'm carrying that legacy, that the diversity of what we're able to bring together, not to the exclusion of others, but to bringing people together, the inclusion of our city, bringing more people into the economic engine, making sure that more families have opportunity to live the promise of what Anchorage has meant for families for a long time, which is that you could come here, find a way to work hard, and give your family opportunities that you just can't find in other cities. Give your family the quality of life that is different than other places. There are a lot of people who are worried about us becoming some other cities. They say we don't want to be this city and we don't want to be that city. And I say, okay, what are we doing to make our city the beloved city? What are we willing to do to roll our sleeves up, drop the toxic partisanship, and get down to work for what's in the best interest of our city? That's what I'm focused on. And that's what Mayor Mystrom knows I'm focused on. The one thing he said is going to got my guiding principle, what's in the best interest of the city. It doesn't mean we won't disagree. We will have disagreements. That's the nature of family. That's the nature of politics. That's the nature of democracy. But the nature of what's better about the way we could do it is that we can disagree with dignity, find our way forward, and work together by rolling our sleeves up and getting things done. That's what my campaign represents. That's the type of administration I will bring. And we will hear everybody's voices as we work together. So I'm really proud. I'll flash them on the screen once again to have this past week received the endorsement of both Planned Parenthood of the Northwest and Hawaii, including Alaska, and then also of former Mayor Rick Mystrom. Now, this goes on top of community giants and leaders like Margot Bellamy, like Sheila Selcraig, former mayoral candidate, former member of the assembly, former city planner. And she knows that I call her to find out about issues all the time, planning issues. It's one of the things she refers to in her endorsements of me. my curiosity to know, like Mayor Maestrom says, what happened in the past, where things are today. That helps a policymaker understand how to get things done in the most effective way. So we don't have to always recreate the wheel, always pull out another report that we have to produce. We've had these reports about what to do next, strategies of how to make downtown vibrant and cultural and colorful. We understand these strategies. Now we just need an administration is going to bring people together to get it done in our community, to build back our city with infrastructure resources that are critical to our rebound, but that we can expect from the new administration, from the Biden administration, and from Congress. Resources are coming. Let's get prepared. Let's get our city ready to rebuild with infrastructure, to bounce back with tourism, and to build that beloved city that is driving and striving toward an aspirational goal that I believe is worth our while to remember, not just as a call of some pie in the sky dream, but a call of a practical nature, the first city without prejudice. Again, we're a long way off, got a lot of work to do to get there. Some people say, well, George, how do you turn down the toxicity? First, speak through it. Don't get caught up in it. I will not get caught up in the toxic partisanship. I will be aggressively, as I am, an independent. But also, the other way we get through it is we have to grow. So I have a growth mindset. We have to build. We have to bring back our economy. We have to make sure that we're investing in early childhood education. We have to use the resources that are available to us to invest in ourselves, invest in the most important pipeline, our cradle to career and beyond, to get our city moving in the right direction again. We've been there before. We've been standing still for a little while. Part of that is we had to repair the hull. I know I was in the administration for 4 years, recognizing that there was real damage done from previous administrations. I think this is one of the things that I connect with in terms of with the former mayor, with Rick Maestrom, recognizing that we've had mayors on different sides since he was the mayor, and there are things we haven't achieved yet that we must achieve to move forward. And now is the time to put those things on deck for all of us. And I ask for your support for my campaign to help us get there, because I'm ready on day one to move Anchorage forward with the legacies that we carry, both as the aspirational goal of a beloved city, but also with the legacy of knowing that there are real work plans and infrastructure opportunities for us to invest in. There are new ways to reorganize our education system and then to invest in those early childhood and after school programs that give our children the best opportunities to be healthy and successful, and to make sure that every neighborhood is thriving, safe, and connected. So any other thoughts, questions, feel free to chime on in. I'd love to hear them as we get ready to close out. I'm seeing if my poet wasn't able to get on, which is totally fine. I put him on the spot. Standing by. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to call you in. We'll see if we do this old school style. Again, this is every night. The fact that we're broadcasting makes it seem like it should be a produced show. We do those events, and our gala was phenomenal. But this is if I'm in open office hours with folks, and I just want people to come on into the office. So I've talked a lot tonight and shared, but that's primarily because we just are creating the space, and we're opening the space together. Every Friday night, we'll have this open office hours. So there are, again, lots of things going on in the city, lots of things that I care about to talk about. We've talked about these tonight, the beloved city, shared with you these endorsements. And as we move forward, I'll just share with you other ways you can get involved, how you can help in the campaign. Share, like, and comment our posts. You can volunteer. We started phone banking this week, and I'd love for you all to get involved in our phone and text banking. You can donate. I need your donations. Let me take that off really fast. I need your donations. It's part of what makes the campaign have the resources to help me get my message out. And we're about to get on the radio, and we're about to get on some other things that are part of our strategic plan, because we've achieved our goals to this point. So your resources now, your donations are going to help us achieve our next goal and give us the final resources to help us seal the deal. But we have a strong campaign now. We're in a good position, and your resources matter. So donate. And then, of course, we're going to vote. And we're only a little more than 30 days away from ballots getting mailed out. Elections on April 6th, but we'll just a little more than 30 days away from about 45 or so days from ballots getting mailed out, because we have a vote by mail election. So we're going to do these things. We need your help to share and like, comment, volunteer and donate, and vote. So I did have a question that was sent to me, just the nature of the stuff happening at the assembly, and I can share this with you. My phone number is on the website, my own website, and people find it. I haven't complained, and I don't really go and do a lot of posts about the things that are happening along the way. I post about what's important to our strategy, what's important to our campaign. I stay on the message. I stay on the focus of the working families that I'm speaking about, the working families that I represent. I stay on the focus of the city that wants to move forward, that wants to eliminate the toxic partisanship. So I stay on focus, but it's not to say that negative things don't happen to me in the campaign. I get those crank phone calls too. Oh yeah. I get the vandalized signs as well. Funny stories about those things. So one day we'll talk about them. But that's not what my campaign is going to be known for. So I'll eat that with making sure that my focus is laser focused on working for the best interests of the people of the city of Anchorage. That's why I want to be the mayor. I know that the future of my family depends on the future of the city. And I am in a position today with my background, qualifications, networks and relationships, and inside knowledge to help us move forward by bringing people together now toward that vision of a beloved city that gives everybody the opportunity for economic advancement, for safe neighborhoods, and for their families to be able to have the quality of life that we're here for. So I get those crank calls too. And the other night I share this one. It's I got a call from somebody that was really upset at the assembly. They were upset about a lot of things, probably more than the assembly too. They had choice words for all sorts of people. They left a voicemail. It was about 9:30 at night, and they threatened me on the call to harass me, to hound me, and to be relentless. And I had no clue what they were talking about. I mean, I understood all the words, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm a candidate for mayor. Why would you be mad at me? And it turns out that if you Google, or the person said that they Googled mayor's office, Anchorage, and my name came up, and so my number came up. So the reason that I know that is because I called that person back. Oh yeah, I did. I called them back because I believe that you gotta. The diplomat in me is ready to bring people together. The diversity of background and lived experiences that I have has me in a position where I have confidence in the ability to stand in the in a hot zone, if you will. I've been there before. So, but I also know that a lot of people are angry in our city. I know that a lot of people are angry because they feel like they haven't been heard. I know that there are people that haven't been heard because they stopped trying to communicate. They just don't even believe anybody would listen. I speak to people that haven't gotten return phone calls from people in positions that they expect those phone calls to be returned by. So I recognize the level of angst in our own community, or as Mayor Maestrom said in his endorsement of me, the dividedness of our community. I recognize that. Now, there are some folks from positions of authority and leadership positions that get really offended or defensive by that. I think being safe and protected in the face of death threats is important. But we put ourselves into the situation not to be attacked in these ways, but it's to be exposed as public officials, as people who are seeking office, to the diversity of ideas and the diversity of energies in our own community. They're not all pretty. Some of them are ugly and dangerous. Toxic, as I call them, toxic partisanship. But I'm not going to let that get in the way of us finding a way forward. Not everybody will join our call to work toward the anchorage that we know we can have, the anchorage that is in our grasp to have through our hard work and our visioning. The visioning of people, like I mentioned, 20 plus years ago, had the vision of thinking of Anchorage as the first city without prejudice. So think about that and the response that I'm going to take to this phone call. So I called the person back. And I said to the person, "Hi, this is George Martinez, and I'm returning your phone call. You left a voicemail that was pretty intense, and I just wanted to have a better understanding of what you were calling about." And the person wasn't as aggressive as on the voicemail. I guess maybe they were shocked that I actually returned a phone call. They also shared with me all sorts of real concerns that they had. I was able to de-escalate that energy, stay on the phone for a little while, and get off the phone with the person that was leaving this kind of voicemail. Get off the phone with them saying, "Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Thank you for taking the time to hear me. Thank you for returning my phone call." This is leadership that we need in our city today. This is the type of leadership that I represent. I will make those phone calls, the difficult ones. I'll return every phone call. My administration will be responsive. I understand what it feels like to not get the return phone call from the people we vote for, even vote against, from the people whose taxpayer dollars we're paying their salary, from the people who work for us. I know what it's like to not get those phone calls from the people who work for us. So we will return every phone call, just like I returned this very heated person's phone call. But in doing that, we create the opportunity to disagree with dignity, find a way forward, roll our sleeves up, and get things done. That's what time it is in Anchorage, everybody. It's time to focus on resetting, rebuilding, and rebounding. Our city, stronger, better prepared, and more prosperous than before. We're going to do that with innovation, education, infrastructure investments, and getting ready to rebound destination Anchorage tourism. We're going to enhance our tourism with, we used to be called, and Mayor Maestrom started the City of Lights and Flowers. So if you like downtown flowers, it's also another thing that came out of the Maestrom administration. There are other things that people will disagree with, and so will I. But the things we agree on have us standing together here, knowing that we could build on what came before us, the City of Lights and Flowers, to a city of culture and art, creativity. We can continue to grow the things that came before us. That's the living legacy of what it means to celebrate Black History Month. That's what it means to continue to carry and to stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. That's what it means to do that work in our community. So everybody get ready for work, because if I get elected, we're going to be working. Our city will be moving forward. We will make sure the most vulnerable have the resources that they need and the access that they need to be a part of this beloved city. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I'll be here every Friday. We'll do this. We will try to have some special guests. But again, this is less of a town hall and more of an opportunity for just people to come on in and communicate with me. Hopefully, I'll answer some questions that you all have. Feel free to send me your questions during the week, and I'll get to them. I will cover them on this thing. But this is an open office hour, and we'll probably rebrand it. But thank you for your time, everybody, and have a great and a very safe weekend. And remember, it's in our hands. Remember, everybody, living legacy. Commit to the work and operationalize the memory of those who came before us. Happy Black History Month. Wait, hopefully we either a comment or a question. I'll take it. Let's see. We scroll down here. Great presentation. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you again and all you do in our community. I'll see everybody on Sunday. Continue to support local organizations. Alaska Black Caucus is having an event on Sunday. Membership or not, get there. It's an important reflection, Black History Month. You'll hear from a variety of community leaders, and I'll have the privilege of taking off my campaign hat and being a part of the beloved community together, standing in solidarity, calling us to continue to work and roll our sleeves up and move our city forward. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and thank you for your continued support.